Welcome to the newest episode of the DKM Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Hope y'all set back your your weight scales 15 pounds back in order to prepare for Thanksgiving, so you don't feel bad for the actions you've partaken in the festivities. If you were if you managed to have a Thanksgiving event, with your family, hope everything was great for those who are listening in the audience, the hosts. It's just going to be Daniel and I. So I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. And if you didn't spend time with the family, I hope you had at least either you got holiday pay if you had to work during Thanksgiving. Because yikes, dude, the line at McDonald's nearby my house, that thing was packed. And there was like
Yeah.
maybe one or two guys working. So like I hope they got holiday pay, because obviously Thanksgiving and all. Because like yikes, dude, it's so
Yeah,
cringe.
I got holiday pay. Unfortunately, I had to spend my Thanksgiving at work. My family went out. I basically stayed home and had to go to work, so that wasn't fun. Speaking about that, actually, you mentioned like eating like somewhere else. Like I'm gonna be honest though, Thanksgiving's never been like one of those things I really enjoy. Mainly Thanksgiving dinner, because I think so many people fuck up the whole serving dinner process. They cook the food too late, or they want to eat outside when the weather is cold for some fucking reason,
Yeah.
and like the food gets cold really fast. Because I always hated Thanksgiving dinner with the family because they always fuck that up, and it always like bothered the shit out of me. It's like it's so simple. You make the turkey and you serve it when it's hot, not make it as people are coming, and then you got to kind of rush the process.
Yeah.
So, there's my thing is that I always have a fallback plan. Every Thanksgiving and Christmas, I always look up which places are open to eat during the holidays, because most places, at least especially around my area, they're closed. And I'm gonna say this right now: the only place that I would ever eat, only because everything else is closed or it's because the holidays, is Checkers.
Hmm.
And man, I think I could safely say that Checkers is D tier fast food for me, easily.
Haven't had in a while actually, so I can't really put it on any tier list for me.
It's all like I'm just gonna summarize it right there. I only eat it when it's like 4 in the morning, and that's like the only place that's open serving lunch or dinner or whatever. And only for the holidays, because that's the only place that's open. That's what I had to do when I had to go to work. I had to get something to eat. Checkers was the only place that was open, so that line was pretty long as well. And yeah, and the line at the McDonald's near my job is fucking crazy, dude. Like it's such a narrow little fucking drive-through. It feels like you're driving through an alleyway rather than an actual drive-through.
With regards to your comment about Thanksgiving and people preparing food right when food are coming in, it's that whole. I don't know if this is what influences the thing that you abhor about Thanksgiving, about doing things basically last second and whatnot, like pulling a
Yeah.
turkey out of the oven. Because like every commercial you see, everything you think about like Thanksgiving with regards to like when it comes to the advertisement, media, etc., it's always a nice nuclear family, all surrounded by one another, on the actual dinner table, a big dinner table,
The dad with
all
the
kind
pipe.
right, everything all together, and the wife, or the family is pulling out the fresh turkey that's ready at the perfect temperature for both the breast, which is the white meat, which takes longer to cook, and the dark meat, which is basically the rest of the turkey. And um it's just happy smiles. Everything's coming out perfectly. Everyone's like, "Wow, look at the turkey and whatnot." And I think that's like what they're trying to capture. Because honestly, I don't know about you, but like turkey, if you don't have things to like keep the turkey warm or your food warm, your food's gonna get cold rather fast. And one of the
Yeah.
things is what do you call these things? Uh, Baño de Maria is what we call it in Spanish over here. It's where you like basically submerge it in water, or you basically cook it in steam. But in this case, you're just like putting it in some sort of container and letting it just steam up, and it'll get cold. It won't be oven hot, but it'll be steamy. So like it'll never drop to a specific temperature, right? Because you keep the water hot. You keep boiling the
Hmm.
water with a little flame underneath. So what's interesting is that like people just really really want to match this tradition that obviously the the holiday of Thanksgiving is not is very tainted in here in America, especially in Canada, which fun fact, Canadians Thanksgiving is basically a month before Americas, but honestly, I don't like Thanksgiving. I don't like most of the food that's on there, like cranberry jam or
Yeah.
cranberry everything. Like honestly, I'd rather just have an excuse to cook whatever food I want to cook for the people I want to cook. Like, hey, I'm making pizza and wings, dude. Who doesn't like pizza and wings? Like, come on. But then again, people have certain expectations. Like, hey, you know, it should be a certain way. You should cook this, that. I don't mind turkey, but I'm gonna throw my own little mix of turkey. I'm gonna like my family has a little tradition where we grab a turkey, we debone it completely, we mix the like meats together, and then we wrap them in bacon and some stuffing that we make, and that's it. And
That sounds really delicious right now.
it's literally as not traditional as you could possibly get. And
Spice it up a bit, you know?
yeah, so I've been going on.
Be
for a minute.
progressive, not conservative.
It's just honestly like, and I don't mean this to say it. It's saying that my culture is better in any way. It's just a lot. I've been to a lot of Thanksgivings to people with different cultures, and it's usually the people who are white that really love the whole like Thanksgiving, like vision, the traditional feel of it, and whatnot. And their turkey comes out the least tasty, except when they fry it. When they fry it, theirs is like to die for. But I just don't know. I just like mixing it up, dude.
Y'all motherfuckers don't got spices in this bitch?
I guess not. I guess I just care more about the actual the feeling of Thanksgiving more so than the food itself. I don't know.
Yeah.
I will say though
I'll say this.
frying turkeys. I'm not sure if you know the amount of house fires that are caused because people fry their turkey indoors, and you should really be frying it outdoors. It's so annoying. So dumb. It even tells you to fry it outdoors in like the instructions if you're doing turkey.
I just want to say though, to end up the Thanksgiving discussion, man, I hope for you guys got some families you'll love each other, because I don't know, I feel like that the more and more years have passed, I found out that a lot of people have really fucked up families.
Yeah.
And nothing is more entertaining than just seeing a family that just can't stand each other all together, and they're trying to find like reasons to like each other, but everybody sneak disses the shit out of each other. Oh man, that's I hope you watch it as an observer and you're not a victim of that shit. But goddamn, that's when like sparks are flying. You know what I'm saying?
I will say though, and I guess I'm not trying to get a little bit personal here. I'm just saying that obviously as time goes on, I can share that sentiment, that view. That as time goes on, you really realize that I'm glad my parents aren't total pieces of crap, because the more and more people I meet, the more personal my relationship with some people. Like I've realized that I'm in a very spoiled position because my parents are amazing, and the things you hear from some of these people, like, yeah, my parents did this to me and this to them. I'm like, dog, that don't sound right. Like, and let alone that you're forced to be at a Thanksgiving banquet with them or a Thanksgiving event with them. It's just, it sucks. Or some people are just living alone, and they don't have a Thanksgiving. So I mean, as long as everyone had a nice and safe Thanksgiving, it's good that you had Thanksgiving pay, holiday pay, because obviously that's a thing that people deserve, right? Who wants to work on the holiday? Mm-hmm. I would use a holiday. I don't really care about holidays, but hell yeah, would I use it to get away from work or to get extra pay at work? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. For me, especially with like holidays like Thanksgiving, I don't really mind it. I care more about like having to go to work on my birthday. Like that's where it's just like, y'all really gonna make me like schedule to come in on my birthday? Like really? Like I get it, we're all adults here, but it's like, really?
Mm-hmm. I've never had that like strong ties to my own birthday, but like, if it's for someone I care about, like I'll call out the day just for like a friend's birthday, for my relative's birthday.
No, but I mean, like, I get where you're coming from. Like, you know, some people just don't really celebrate their birthdays. But if you're like, you know, you just want to take the day off at least.
Yeah, I feel you. I can respect. At least I can respect that, because some people just want a day to themselves that isn't vacation time or isn't like sick day. It makes sense. Absolutely makes sense.
Yeah.
I will say though, with regards to like taking time to yourselves, like a lot of video games out there, for multiple holidays, they give you like extra bonuses for playing during holidays or playing for like during days where you'd expect them to, like, gamers to be like with their family. But like a lot of players, like, hey, the double EXP, like look at Call of Duty, there was double EXP for weapons, the battle pass, and your character, and during the whole Thanksgiving weekend basically. And like honestly,
man, boy, do I have to tell you?
Yeah, go ahead.
Man, do I have to tell you about MMOs?
Oh, boys, it's the same thing.
We get events all the fucking time. Yeah, you get the 14's All Saints Wake one. There was the shit. I remember I spent like a week straight doing nothing but the gold saucer mini games just to get enough MGP, just to get the fucking regalia from Final Fantasy 15 as a fucking mount.
Oh.
Yeah, like that, and there's like there's always something going on in every MMO. There's always like, or hell, there's even like fucking mobile games or like banners and things like that where it's like, hey, you better play the game and put time and money into it because this thing is only going to be available at a certain time, you know?
Right. And that's the one thing that like it's kind of dumb that they obviously, if you're younger, obviously.
Nah, man, people are going to be home during those days, so of course they're going to do that.
True. I will say though, like for younger folks who are obviously like. They'd rather be playing video games all day and not going out with their families and whatnot because like, oh, what's the point? I'd rather be playing video games with the boys, right? These kids can like get like a quick little boost in XP or whatever. The special event that's going on for the festivities for the holidays that's happening, and because of that, people are really quick to jump on the guns. Like, dang, I really need to get to this event so I can level up faster, I can do this faster, I can do whatever faster, or get the special item that's only going to be there for Thanksgiving, or a certain skin, and yada, yada, yada. But, like, then if you're a younger lad who obviously can't really do much in regards to, like, hey, I can't say no to my parents because they say I have to go, or else if I don't go, it's going to be no video games. But, like, a lot of people use this opportunity to just, like, grind the hell out of the extra EXP that you can get from these events or whatever. It's hilarious to see, like, even game companies. And I was like, these gamers they don't have family that they're gonna go see. These guys are just gonna play all day. Who cares? And I'm like, well, I guess to each their own. But it's kind of sad, but also awesome at the same time because there were times where my family's working during Thanksgiving. I just play video games.
Yeah. I'm just a loner, so I just play video games.
It is what it is.
Agree. So, Marcos, I heard you built a new computer recently. What's up with that?
So in case y'all don't know, certain GPUs and certain video game consoles have been very difficult to come by, and it's been pissing off a lot of people because scalpers exist, right? They basically bottleneck the supply chain, thus creating a false demand. And obviously, thanks to the 2020's shenanigans that happened with the whole shutdowns with a whole bunch of things, well, obviously manufacturers and people that ship out shipments they aren't up to par. So obviously PS5s and Xbox Series X's and weren't really, the supply wasn't there, but the demand was huge. Well, the same thing was for GPUs, and I have a GPU which is the 3080 Ti. I managed to get that in a raffle, which is called the New Egg Shuffle, and I managed to get also my PS5 from that same thing. But yeah, I've been enjoying this PC. I never thought I would do an RGB lights, the RGB LGBT lights, you know what I mean?
For those extra frames. Yeah, you need those
extra freaking frames. Exactly. You see, you understand. So
yeah.
But I mostly went with Corsair because some of the stuff I already had was already Corsair, and the case is a Corsair 5000D Airflow because I wanted the most fans possible, the most airflow possible, the ability to upgrade from a 360 fan setup to a 480 if I wanted to, just because I like airflow. So I built a nice PC. I could probably sell this PC for $8,000 actually if I'm pushing it, and it basically cost me like $3,500 to make. But I've been enjoying it. This PC is probably gonna last me until like for 10 years, I think, until I gotta swap out the CPU and then change out the motherboard and change out the freaking the SSDs. But so far, I've been enjoying it. I haven't been testing it to the limits, but for the most part, I've got 64 gigabytes of RAM. I got a 3080 Ti. That's
for those extra 12 Chrome tabs. I get you.
Yes, actually, yes. That's literally what I said. That's literally what I said when I first got the when I first got all that RAM. I was like, extra tabs for me, boy.
Yeah, let's go.
I will say though that like my last build was more of a sleeper build, because if you saw my old computer, you would think that it's just a whatever computer. It looks like the case was one of those desktop cases, those towers that you would see in a typical public school or a public government building, that is just black, and it's just like
That looks like it's rocking the Windows Vista still.
basically, and it can push Modern Warfare.
I love
Max.
those builds though.
I do.
I love those builds. Like people taking like these old 98 fucking Dell E machines or something.
Yeah.
And then they just like filled it with like the coolest fucking specs behind it. I just find that really fucking cool.
Water cooled pump, strongest thing ever. Yeah, so like I'm enjoying it.
So wait, but why did you make this new computer though? Like I'm trying to understand. Like why did you go out of your way to like if you already had a computer? Was it because you're trying to do something specific or?
Oh, so like I said, I literally said, you know what? Let me enroll into the new X Shuffle, and I want a 3080 Ti. And then that led to a whole bunch of other things that I'm like, you know what? I might as well build a new PC and sell this one to someone who needs it more.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna upscale my old PC. I'm gonna sell it to a friend that exactly what I put into it. So if like on my old PC, I did not buy RAM. RAM was given to me. I am not gonna charge him for the RAM. I obviously bought the GPU, but I'm not gonna give him I'm not gonna charge him like upscaled price. I'm just gonna give him the GPU the price I got it at. So he's gonna get a way better build for probably $600 flat, and it's basically 3 times better than his current computer. He'll be able to run games on Max. So I've just said, you know what, I might as well just build it now and not worry about my computer and worry about the small little things. Because honestly, my old computer was basically just how do you say a Frankenstein build, sort of, because things were like sort of weird. It was annoying trying to find a proper CPU bracket to go into this motherboard that I had, so it was annoying as hell to do it. And heck, even our co-host here, Kenny, we tried putting the new AIO 120mm AIO to go into it, and it was annoying. It was literally the pain in the ass. Both him and I were sweating to put it on. This Frankenstein of a PC works. It can run Modern Warfare, it can run Black Ops, it can run a bunch of games on Max while pushing, I want to say like 70% of VRAM usage, like on a good day. Sometimes it'll go higher, but it can run most games on Max. But either way, like it's a 3060 Ti. I'm sorry, it is no joke. It's pretty freaking good. But the reason why I started building all this is because I got a 3080 Ti. I was gonna sell it, maybe scalp it a little bit, but then I started thinking about building a new PC, and now I got a new PC that can. It looks pretty. It's got a whole bunch of nice features, and I can edit whatever the hell I want to edit. I have yet to see my GPU go past 65 degrees ever, and I've been having fun, to tell you the truth. But honestly, I asked myself, like, was it really worth it? Like, really? Was it like?
There's always a sense of diminishing returns after a certain point. Like, are you like pushing like a higher resolution or higher frame rates for that matter?
Easily in some games, I'm pushing double the frames.
Yeah, but I mean, like, do you have a monitor that supports it?
Of course.
What refresh rate is your monitor?
165.
Okay, so it's the same as mine. All right. Yeah, because my thing is with, like, when I got my 970 and then I upgraded to the 2080, that was because I was trying to kill two birds with one stone, which was I was gunning from 1080p to 1440p and from 60 hertz to 165 hertz.
Mm-hmm.
My thing...
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, like, yeah, I get where you're coming from because it's, like, it's one of those things about, like, with computers. It's, like, the tower I have next to me, I'm pretty sure I mentioned this before in the podcast. This thing has been with me since, I want to say, 2013. Mm-hmm. This case, right? I have changed almost everything in this computer except the case and the fucking power supply, which is very concerning. I really should pick up a power supply during a Black Friday sale. I've just been debating because it's just, like, every time I'm thinking, like, okay, I should replace this one thing. Like, my main thing I definitely need to replace is my processor. My i7 is definitely holding me back, as recently with the new Battlefield that just dropped. I knew going into it that's like, okay, I'm not going to be able to play this because the last Battlefield game, Battlefield 5, was unplayable for me because of my i7. So I'm thinking, like, okay, I should upgrade to a new processor, but then I'm thinking, like, well, if I'm going to upgrade a new processor, I need to get a new motherboard. And at that point, I might as well just go ahead and get a new power supply. And then if I'm already going to get a new power supply, I might as well get a case. And then it goes on and on and on right there, because then I got to upgrade the RAM to be better to compensate for the better processor at the time. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where it's just like you start with one thing and then it's like you could Frankenstein it, or you could just start completely fresh, you know?
That's true, and that's basically my first build was basically, for the most part, a Frankenstein build. Most of this build is literally freaking... Actually, let me double check. Okay, so the motherboard and the GPU are Gigabyte. Everything else is Corsair.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it's literally what was it? I need the IQ to see my stats for everything if I wanted to, but to control the RGB LGBT lights, all I really need is just one app, which is the IQ, and then the motherboard and the GPU, they're controlled by one app as well, one application to control lights, and that's really it, honestly. But those don't even light up that much. To tell you the truth, my computer's an old white build, except the motherboard. And the motherboard is black, but it adds nice contrast to it. And to tell you the truth, I've been looking at sometimes in the Newegg Shuffle, 3090 and all white 3090 shows up, because my 3080 Ti is silver and white, but mostly silver. And then I keep thinking, can I just sell this 3080 Ti and just install the 3090? And it being all white, it would match the build a lot more. And then I thought, no, just you don't need to spend that much money on a GPU. Sure, you'll get some money back because you could sell the GPU, the 3080 Ti, more than what you bought the 3090 for. But like honestly, that's headaches I don't want to deal with. Install new drivers, new everything, and I don't want to open up my PC ever again, like at all, unless I have to clean it. But like,
yeah, I get you.
I will say though, with this new PC, during Thanksgiving, I went to my cousin's house, and he has an Oculus Rift. I don't know which model he has. I think he has the 2. It was white.
Is it?
It's
all white.
Yeah.
Is it the one that you don't need to be plugged in?
Yeah.
That's the Quest.
That's the
Quest 2.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So I've never liked VR, mainly because like I get hot real quick, and it's been an annoying thing for me. But the games are fun, right? One thing that my cousin and his wife have mentioned is that they get motion sickness, especially the wife. She gets motion sickness playing a lot of games, and I've never been one for motion sickness with regards to playing VR. The only thing I get motion sickness is when I take off the goggles themselves and I look at my phone screen, because I guess my eyes got adjusted to the screen inside whatever VR set I'm using, and then when I look at my phone, which the clarity usually is a lot better, my brain goes, wait a minute, you gotta slow down there, bucko. But I was playing this one game, I forgot what it was called, but it was a first person shooter with VR. It was I don't know the name, but it looked a lot like
describe it.
Yeah. So there was only like, I guess, 8 weapons you can choose from: a P90, a shotgun, a dual wield pistols that looked like shotgun pistols, minigun, some nice looking assault rifle, a sniper rifle. But it almost looked like an advanced version of Roblox, almost. But there was a jetpack, there was boosters. I forgot what it was called, dude. But it was a nice game, and I didn't get any motion sickness. But I realized that VR FPSs are quite fun, actually, and I was playing Beat Saber as well, and they're quite fun. And I was wondering, I don't need a lot of space to actually play I have a small room, but with the Oculus Quest, I don't need a lot of space. Even in the small room that I have, like, I can play pretty comfortably a VR. And I'm thinking, you know what? I don't have much experience with VR. I know Daniel does, so I was going to ask him in this podcast, like, what is your opinion on VR? Yeah, have you considered even playing, like, connecting up your VR to your PC whenever you just want to lay down in bed and just not, like, sit down and just play games that you can play on VR? Because that's something that I feel like I would do a lot.
Well, to go off of that, I actually need to still get my VR headset. I currently lent my headset to a friend of mine to stream Five Nights at Freddy's VR, which was really fucking funny.
Oh, wow.
It was really great. That's still one of my favorite streams he's ever done. I still need to get my headset back from him. It's still just sitting in his place. As far as like sitting down or laying down while watching VR, I mean, the cable technically could reach to my bed, but it's like it's not like the computer's behind me. It's like the computer has to go past my body, down my feet to the computer.
Right.
But I can't think of any situation like that. I remember one time a friend of mine, he got one of those like really shitty, like cheap phone VR headsets.
Okay.
And he tried to like show me that like, oh, you could play like games with it, but it's like you have to connect to the Wi-Fi, and then from the Wi-Fi it has to ping the computer. So every time I move my head, it simulates like moving the mouse, and that fucked me up. let me see. The only time I ever got like really sick from playing VR was one time I was trying to jerry rig my PSVR setup because you could technically use it on your PC and it would just basically simulate an HTC Vive.
Okay.
But it wasn't good. It was really bad and awful. The best way to describe it without like visually showing it to people, it's like imagine like you turning your head from left to right, but as I'm shaking your head up and down, and like side to side as you're turning. That's the best way I could describe it. It was miserable. Like I remember, and there was all these sliding scales you could adjust for it to compensate it. I never could get it to work. It fucked me up. I literally almost had to bend over and vomit. But after I got like an Oculus Rift S, which is fairly old now, I know that it's no longer going to be supported as it's not going to be sold because I get why Facebook did that though. Like why bother make a headset that's only for the computer when you can make the Quest that's both portable and also works on the computer.
I get that. I will say, have you ever gotten motion sickness from watching someone else play a game? I mean, I don't mean like streaming. I mean like you're in the same house as them, you're in the same room, and you're watching them play on the same TV. You would get a little bit of motion sickness because you're watching them play, and in your mind, you want to go left, but your buddy went right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I want to say that's happened to me maybe once, but I can't for the life of me remember, or I can't remember a specific case at all. Like, but I feel like I might have felt that at one point. The last time I remember feeling sick while playing the game was actually when I think I just got vaccinated and I was running all the Stormblood raids for Final Fantasy 14, and I was just doing all the raids back to back, right? And when you're playing that game, I don't know if you ever seen like a raid in an MMO, you're seeing like all these effects happening on the screen and shit, and all these numbers are showing up and stuff. It's a visual fucking flare, you know what I'm saying? So I remembered I was in the last raid, and I was just, I was powering through in that shit, right? I was just going through it as quickly as possible to unlock the Bajian content. And when I got to the final Stormblood raid, I suddenly started feeling really sick in my stomach. Like I felt really fucked up in the stomach, and doesn't help either that I'm seeing all these like flashes of colors and shit like that. And I remembered as I was doing the last raid, I was playing with mostly my head facing down on the desk, looking up every once in a while to keep track of the mechanics because I was feeling like shit. And I was in a party with people at the time. So when we finally finished the last raid, I told the party, like, hey, I'm going to go vomit real quick. Thank you for joining me for the raid. I'll see you guys next time. And I almost vomited.
Just a quick little advisory if you do plan on getting vaccinated anytime soon. Just if you do get the shot, please drink plenty of electrolytes in order to mitigate any feverish symptoms that you could get because your body will go through a reaction.
I like to call it a software reset. That's the best way I could describe it.
A lot of people I've known who after they got in the vaccination, they felt sickly, feverish, and the best advice I've gotten was, hey, just drink plenty of electrolytes right after you got your shot, heck, even before, regardless of what kind of electrolytes you get. It's just anything to keep your system with plenty of fuel in order to do what it needs to do. So obviously vitamins and minerals are very important as well. So make sure you consume a good amount of them because once you do get vaccinated, your body needs all the resources it needs in order to handle whatever vaccination you got. If you get sick, it is what it is. It's normal. Even if you had the old school vaccination shots where you
like booster shots and stuff.
Yeah, but like the ones that carry the actual virus in it. Like that's the old school one because this vaccination is an RNA, which does not have a weakened strain of the virus. So even then, people would still get sick afterwards. Like I remember when I was a child and I got the flu shot in order to enter middle school. I got sick afterwards, and I think that was the very last time I remember getting sick ever. Like actually, like snot everywhere, bedridden. Like yeah. But like.
My best advice for when you're ever going to deal with tank buster vaccines, make sure you pop mitigation so you can lower your damage taken.
I remember to rest at a bonfire. Make sure you got your Exodus flasks, your Sunny D's, and your Mountain Dew Baja Blast before you get your vaccination.
Yeah, don't forget to get the moss. Don't forget the moss because you're gonna be chugging through that fucking bog. And to answer your original question, as far as like space needed for VR, I did have to do a couple of things around my room to accommodate it, but it was things I was gonna do anyways. Things like, okay, so here's some advice, right? If you're one of those people that have a problem where, like, I get this thing where people say like, oh, I lose my sense of direction, because that's usually why you get motion sickness. You have no way to set yourself to the ground. So my best advice would that be, get a fan and get a rug. Get a rug to and like play barefoot if you need to, just so you know, like, okay, I'm on the rug right now. This is where I'm comfortable to stand and play at. And then get a fan to point you to where you should be looking at. So instead of, like, a good example was when I first got my my Rift S. The first games I played was Robo Recall, right? Okay. And it's one of those like 360 like VR games, because I don't know if you remember, like, the original Oculus Rift setup. You had to get like the headset and you had to put base stations on like the ground, and I think there was only 2 that came with it, but people would always buy a third one. That was just so like the controllers could track like 180 degrees, right?
Okay.
So with the Rift S, because as inside out tracking, you don't need to put any base stations. That's why it appealed to me so much, because I didn't have to set up a single lighthouse with the Rift S. It literally was open it up, plug it in, download the software, and instantly play. It was like easier even to set up than the PlayStation VR headset, which that's limited as it is. When I first played Robo Recall, I was really into the game. Like, I was just completely zoned into it, right? And I took the headset off, and I didn't. And mind you, I'm like doing poses, I'm shooting shit, I'm throwing robots all over the place and stuff. And when I took off the headset, I didn't realize I was standing in front of a fucking wall.
Oh.
I was doing all this stupid shit in front of a wall, and I could think it was like, could you imagine some poor fucker walked into my room and you just see me just like doing all these weird shit up against the wall, like I'm trying to fucking provoke it.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was really funny. So afterwards, what I did was, to prevent from ever that happening, most VR games, they kind of still play with that 180 mindset. Usually ports of games, they always want you facing towards like your monitor or where you should be looking at, right? Okay. And so what I did was I enabled like 180 mode, so it would only like go like only in front of me, right? So that's where I have the most space. My best advice, if you want to tell like what's a game that you could play, just avoid room scale games. Room scaled games are games that expect you to walk around. If you only could play standing or sitting, then you just look up for games that only have standing and sitting mode. So yeah, I never played a VR game sitting down. I really should do that for games like VR Chat, because why the fuck should I be standing in my room talking to people when I could just be sitting down? Right. But I guess it's for the immersion aspect, because I really need to be immersed when some asshole walks into the room and just has a nude model Lego shoe his cock out. Yes, that's actually happened to me before. Yeah, VR Chat is fucking weird. It's weird, but it's entertaining. I can see why a lot of people get into it. But as far as for you, Marcos, like, I've seen your room. Would it be possible to play VR?
Yeah.
My only thing is that the best thing I could tell you is that if you could stand in the middle of your room, stretch your arms out, and lean like on one side to the other, not touch any of the walls, you'll be fine. And plus, you have like a Guardian set up in the Oculus software, so like if you're about to hit a wall or something, it will like tell you like, hey, you're getting too fucking close to your wall.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, that's my best advice. Get a fan to blow air to your face just to cool you off, and center to know where you're looking at, and get a rug so you have something comfortable to put your feet on, because I have like super hard tile floors and this shit gets cold. So after a while, when you're even standing there with just your sandals, it's gonna feel fucking comfortable.
I
get a nice soft rug.
I prefer the cold tile anyways, because I get hot anyways. I don't like wearing.
Yeah, but after a while, it's it's hard as hell on your. Well, then again, I have super flat feet, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, that's true. No, I don't have that issue. I always walk barefooted in my household, at least in my room, I should say. Everywhere else, I walk with the sandals.
I will say this though, man. I think I want to get an Oculus Quest, because I think that it's just an inherent upgrade from the Rift S. But man, I mainly just wanted to play Resident Evil 4 again.
Really? On VR?
Yeah, Resident Evil 4. Yeah, it's Resident Evil 4 got a VR version, but it's Oculus exclusive.
Right.
And the only way you could play it is if you get it through the Rift S, and not the Rift S, the Quest. And I hate that. Is like, you really could have just put it on the storefront on the Rift S so I could play it that way.
Right.
Like, really, it has to be a Quest exclusive.
Right. Oh, I wasn't aware of that. I completely forgot that was a thing. A whole bunch of.
That's like the only game I could think. That's the only game I can think of that's a Quest exclusive. Because, yeah, there's Oculus exclusive games, but if you have like an HTC Vive or a fucking Valve Index, you can use Revive, which just lets you play Oculus exclusive games on your other headset without any problems.
Okay, no, I wasn't aware of that. I will say though, like, it's not something I could see myself getting anytime soon. But the games were interesting enough. I did quite like the Doom game on VR only because of like the movement system. Like, obviously,
Yeah, how was it?
I liked it.
Do you play with teleporting or with locomotion?
I had the teleporting option, which honestly, that thing was so busted. Like when it comes to like not getting hit, because you could just constantly be moving around. The only problem is because it's teleporting, you need to get used to the whole idea of things constantly like. It's not a gradual motion like when you're moving, like in Doom, right? The best way to play Doom on any difficulty is to constantly be moving and never, ever, ever standing still. But in the teleport mode, you obviously don't have that luxury. You obviously have it's instant. So your brain needs to adjust to the new landscape you just created because you're teleporting. That was my only thing, because sometimes I would think in enemies at a specific point, only to find out that my crosshairs is just a little bit too much to the right or to the left, and I wasted a couple of shots of my pistol because they weren't there, and I needed to get adjusted to the whole teleportation system. But other than that, like I've played a good amount of games where you do teleport to move, and it's not that bad. It takes time to get used to, and these are the things that give people motion sickness, because your brain expects to you to be at a certain spot at a specific time and how to get there, and it expects things to go out and act accordingly. But when you break that immersion, or when you start jetpacking but you don't feel that jetpacking feeling, people tend to get motion sickness. I will say though, I told my cousin's wife that one good way to go against the whole motion sickness feeling is when you decide you want to do something, like really, really believe it, and like with all the willpower you have that you're going to do it, right? And sure, it might be hard because your body's like, hey, you're moving forward, but I'm not feeling that I'm moving forward. And it takes hard to separate your body from the actual mindsets that you're using, because you're obviously blocking out the everything else. But you really need to dedicate to the, hey, I'm moving forward in this game only. And you got to really work hard to separate it. Or you got to learn to stop caring in such a way where you're like, hey, like, you need to practice to yourself, try to talk yourself out of it. It's like, hey, I am playing this game, and it takes time. It's not for everyone, but that's the advice someone gave me who got a lot of motion sickness but really, really wanted to do VR. And after a while, he got used to it, and he basically just kept saying, this is not real life. Obviously, this is just me dedicating my time to do something I want to do, and now I need to separate my mind from my body in such a way where, like, hey, I am not moving forward. And he had little breathing exercises and little meditations, but mostly it was just the mindset and the mentality of it. So it's good for him, honestly, and it's the best advice I heard thus far with regards to VR and not getting motion sickness. But VR seems interesting. I will say I get way too damn hot. If I'm playing Beat Saber,
Yeah,
I could do a couple of songs, but
Yeah, you start sweating. Yeah, especially didn't help with the Rift S. They use like a foam padding on it. That shit after a while is like, how would I describe it? It's like that black foam padding that they use. I'm trying to think of like an example of where they use it, but you know what I'm talking about, right?
I know
Like
what
the
you're
one
talking
that's
about. I know the material.
Yeah, and it's like when you get really hot and you keep moving that headset up and down and stuff, and if it's not like super tight on you, it starts rubbing on your skin and shit. Oh my god, it's awful. Like I remember like when VR covers started making those like granted, it was meant to be more like a way to be hygienic instead, because you know with all that sweat and shit going inside that foam, and if you start like passing the headset around, that's just only gonna make the situation worse. They made out like this little I wouldn't say like a condom. I would say more like a sock you put over the cover. It made it softer, but it was meant to be like, you know, when you buy it, they give you like two of them. So you're supposed to be like, all right, here's one for you, here's one for the other guy. You're supposed to like swap them out whenever you guys are going to be playing VR, right?
Okay.
Because that's the thing. Like companies, that's why the Quest was such a appealing product, was the fact that like they knew that people want to share this thing around in parties and stuff. Like that's why Beat Saber has like a party mode where you're supposed to hot swap that fucking headset, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I told myself like I had to get a fan on. If I know that's not gonna get air to my eyes, but at least we'll get air in my
It
fucking
helps.
skull.
Yeah.
So it helped tremendously, especially with like how hot it gets here in Florida. Oh my god, it gets really bad. Fuck, I want to play my headset now. I gotta get my headset back.
I will say with regards to certain VR games, I don't mind playing them. It gets used to it, getting used to it. But listen, the material on the freaking headset itself is very, very pivotal. Cause I hate leather in the sense of like using it for chairs, using it for any seat cushions or anything, couches, and let alone for like headsets, like actual headsets for like earmuffs and stuff. Like some gaming headsets have the little leather thing on it. I don't like it whatsoever because my face,
especially when it starts to wear out and then starts like getting ripped off and shit. Yeah, I found when I needed a computer chair really badly, I was driving around my neighborhood and some guy threw away a fucking office chair. I tried ripping off all that leather that was already coming off, but it was still ripping out. I only had that chair for like a week before I threw it away.
Dude, I can't deal with leather. I really can't. My car has like the leather seats that come stock, and I have a cover that goes over that's basically cloth. But dude, I can't deal with VR that has leather. Yeah, I just begin sweating like crazy, and I can't. And then my face gets caked into it. It's disgusting.
You know, I had this fucking epiphany the other day at work. Right? Why the fuck of all games that should have had a VR game, right? Why doesn't Metal Gear Solid have one? You literally released a PlayStation 1 game called Metal Gear Solid VR Missions.
Oh. What?
Like, that came in my mind the other day. I was just like, oh, yeah, there was another Metal Gear Solid game on the PlayStation. It was called VR Missions. And the whole thing about Metal Gear Solid, and like, I know that that's not Konami's thing now because Konami doesn't give a shit about this franchise. But, like, you already made a whole fucking like reveal and subplot about Metal Gear Solid 2 is the fact that Raiden is a soldier trained purely off of VR back in 2002. So now it's 2021. That shit would be meta as fuck.
I mean, Raiden is a cyborg now. Cyborg? Android? I don't know. So
yeah, but like remember, I'm talking about like nerdy geeky Metal Gear Solid 2 Raiden.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like so, like I've just thought about that. Like, man, that would have been meta as fuck, wouldn't it?
I think, obviously, well, you basically answered your own question. Konami doesn't really care about Metal Gear anymore at this point. The only thing they care about is freaking Yu-Gi-Oh cards because that makes them a whole bunch of money apparently.
And mobile games.
games.
Sometimes releasing collections, which hopefully they'll maybe release a Metal Gear collection, but I doubt it.
But like. It is an interesting idea, obviously lore wise, but will we see something like that happen? Yeah, I doubt it. Obviously, I'm pretty sure Kojima would love doing something like that, but Konami doesn't really care about furthering the story, furthering anything with regards.
Well, the last time they tried to make a Metal Gear game without it was a fucking zombie game by 2017. Yeah, when zombies were completely phased out and people already were sick of it. Yeah, nice job, Konami.
Mm-hmm.
You fucking dumbass.
Mm-hmm. That's why I don't think with regards to Konami's case, like Metal Gear is obviously one of those games that like you really need to have a love for it first and foremost before actually getting into it because it's not a game that anyone can easily, start playing into. But it's a shame that obviously what's going on with Kojima and Konami, like it sucks that this is the path that we're in now. This is the world we live in. This is the ruined timeline. We got to reload a different save in order to save the actual timeline and save the world, but that won't be the case. But with regards to your question, like, I feel like, or your statement, I feel like every game can really benefit from a VR style or maybe a VR mini game, but not like a full VR game. I don't think so. Maybe a game like, hey, like look at Superhot, right? You can play the base game just fine on controller, but if you have VR, the game becomes something else completely. So I feel like stuff like that wouldn't be the best interest of certain investors because like, hey, what do we need to make two games? You could just make one game, and if it has VR.
Oh, you mean like Bethesda, where they sold you the game twice?
How many times did you buy Skyrim?
No, I'm talking about Fallout 4 VR.
Oh, right, that was a thing. I
Yeah, that was a thing. Skyrim VR was a thing. Meanwhile, No Man's Sky just said, "Hey, by the way, we just dropped the VR mode. Go ahead and play it."
Oh, dude, the VR mode for Elite Dangerous was so wet. I loved it so much. It made the game a little bit easier actually, which is like No Man's Sky. It's space and stuff where you visit different planets, but it's a little bit more serious looking and much more grim looking in some case, much more realistic, I should say.
You also need to have a degree in fucking learning how to operate a spaceship.
Which is awesome, to tell you the truth, because the game.
No, exactly. It's a simulation.
Yeah.
That's what people like. Like that's what they, that's what they're getting into. But it's just one of those things like, oh, cool. How do I fly this thing? Like, well, you got to do this, and then you got to do that, and then you got to check this, and got to check that. It's like, dude, I just want to get this fucking thing to float.
Technically, you can turn that off in the settings. You can literally don't have to do any checks. You can turn it off. Like when you can
put dummy mode on.
When you're in the hub.
Well, here's
the actual station.
Here's a good thing.
Well, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you brought up the fact that's like, well, there shouldn't be like a VR only thing. Well, what about VR games that get a 2D screen version? Like a good example is Five Nights at Freddy's. Like that game was a VR game. That was a game made for VR. But then when it started getting to the Switch and to the consoles, they then later made a flat version of it, which I think it kind of undermines it though, because that was like the whole thing about like playing that game in VR was that you were facing the fear right in front of you. You know what I'm saying?
I've never played or heard about the 2D version of the game. I know it.
No, it's the same game. You just play it without the VR headset.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of like that existing. That's what I'm saying. I've heard of the VR for Five Nights at Freddy. I didn't know that there was a port, a non-VR port for it.
Well, mode.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
Mode. Yeah, that's interesting. I actually don't know what to say about that because if you could still get the same thing, like the same, I guess your money's worth from actually playing the game, just not in VR, then honestly, like, this is the creator making the game. He obviously has a lot of love for his own creation, which is the Five Nights at Freddy's IP.
Well, he didn't make it.
Oh, he did it? Then never mind.
No. This was way above his usual shtick. Dude, the guy made all these games, like all the original Five Nights at Freddy's games, like 1 through 6, I believe, and then Sister Location, all that stuff. He made it all like in a simple game engine that's made for phones.
Oh wow.
That's why those games, like most of the assets in those games are not even 3D. Like they're just like 2D images, like literally rotoscoped in a sort of way. I'm probably using the wrong terminology, but yeah, that's what it is. No, that was made by the Five Nights at Freddy's VR and Security Breach. Is made by Steel Wool Games. He supervised them, obviously. Okay. But yeah, no, he didn't make these games all by himself. No.
Either way, it's quite impressive to see. Like obviously, this game was never meant to be this big, and the cultural relevance this game has, just because a whole bunch of people started playing it, and then a whole bunch of kids got into it.
It's so funny too, because originally he did like a GoFundMe page or like a Kickstarter for the original game, didn't raise a single dollar. Released it anyways, becomes a financial success.
Dude, and it's everyone like how popular he got, how big time YouTubers like the game theorists are on it nonstop, and he's constantly watching their live stream whenever they do anything with regarding to Five Nights at Freddy's. Like it's amazing that like a developer would manage to like break the mold, I guess, and able to like create a game that has affected the cultural way people look at games. Because Five Nights at Freddy's is just a simple horror game that honestly you just gotta know how to time yourself, how to time certain button presses, and that's really the game is. It's the most simplest, like, oversimplified way you can describe it. Like Dark Souls is literally just that: hit once and just keep dodging until it's time to hit again, and then you do that, oversimplifying it all, and guess what? You can beat the game. It takes time to fully understand the game itself like that, but like because you're busy thinking about all these other variables. But such a simple game, such a simple design, and the story being such a complicated like Kingdom Hearts-esque type of story mode, where like, hey, this guy pooped in this bucket on the October 12th, but because he didn't fully digest his corn pieces, some one kid saw on the floor that there was some corn and goes, oh, corn, and then ended up getting some form of mad cow disease, and then the bite of 87, and then it's just like a whole bunch of like other things, right, like stacked up to each other. And you can beat the whole game without really getting the story. You can just beat the game expecting it to get a challenge, but the story is hidden within the details, much like I'm not comparing it to Dark Souls, but like Dark Souls, right? So
Yeah.
it's great that a game like this exists and people can enjoy it, but people still cringe obviously for the fact that it's Five Nights at Freddy's and kids love Five Nights at Freddy's the same way people cringe at Fortnite because kids love Fortnite. So speaking of Fortnite, Naruto's in Fortnite.
Yeah, we talked about that.
I know.
last,
I just can't, dude. I can't anymore with these memes that people genuinely have this hate for Fortnite just to have a hate for Fortnite. I can't wait to to see freaking like the most absurd thing out there. Like Rick and Morty are already in Fortnite. Can you think of any other character like that is quote unquote sacred that people don't want to see in Fortnite? Because I can't really think of anything, honestly, because now since Rick and Morty's there, Naruto's there, Thanos was there, I can't...
Gandhi.
Like, historical Gandhi?
Yes, Gandhi.
Like, yeah, well, I mean, that's really pushing a line, I guess. Like, I mean, Martin Luther King event was already, like, a disaster because...
Well, yeah, exactly. But I'm just... you put me on the spot, so I'm just going to say with Gandhi.
I would agree with that. Like, historical figures that led to, like, civil rights and all that stuff and just human rights as a whole.
Why not just go all the way? Like, just put, like, George Washington. Let's put the Founding Fathers in there. Let's see. What else can we put?
The thing is, like, you can't really own... No one really owns the property, I think, to George Washington. Maybe his estate.
So saying we can.
I think so, but like, what would be the benefit unless like Fortnite is doing a historical thing, like a like American history lesson on?
Because I want to hit the nene with George Washington after I wipe out a squad.
I think it'd be kind of like in bad taste, but also funny if people played as Lincoln and purposely let themselves get shot in the back of the head.
Yeah, that'd be really fun.
I think for the most part, the only thing that I like most, like with regards to like Fortnite and like everything, like the amount of skins that you can get, is like seeing your own custom character in a serious cutscene. You're literally dressed as Bozo the Clown, and people are just like, "Hey, half of our troops just died," and you're just there looking like an actual buffoon. That's like top tier memes, and I'm glad games do that as a whole. It's just like it's like developers actually care about like, hey, we don't really care so much about what you dress as if it's canonically correct or not. It's
Man,
just,
I don't know. I think like the best is like when you see like the WWE 2K game where like people could, like their fucking character look all yellow skin with like a fucking clown nose and half size shoes and shit, and I'm just like, what the fuck? And they're trying to tell like a story, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And this game looks like dog shit.
someone making Sans or Peter Griffin from just because why not? So I think like stuff like that, or even what was it, Skate 3, where you can create your own custom character and you can make the most ugliest, most abominable, like inhuman thing possible. And
God, I can't wait for Skate 4.
oh, that's right, Skate 4 was a thing in development.
No, it's happening. They have confirmed
Yeah,
it.
no, that's what I'm saying. I forgot it was a thing. My main
Oh, yeah.
concern is with any new game, obviously, people have their expectations saying, like, oh, it's going to be, I hope it's better than the last one, yada, yada, yada. You know how it is. It normally is. But with regards to Skate, who's publishing the game? I can't remember.
EA.
Oh, no.
Well, it's always been EA.
I forgot. That's the thing. That's why I forgot.
Yeah, that's why it died.
Damn.
That's why it died.
Dude, it's just EA, obviously.
Speaking about EA,
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
What the fuck did I tell you guys?
Preach.
Battlefield 2042 was gonna be fucking garbage at launch. That beta proved my point, and look what happened.
Preach, brother.
What did we learn?
Preach, brother.
What did we learn? It's the same fucking shit. I always tell everyone, stop buying these games at launch and stop saying, well, it's going to get good better. Then buy something better now and then play that later.
Well, I will say, though, with Battlefield 2042, obviously a lot of hype was put into it, and a lot of people were I guess, in this fog of, like, no, this game's going to be different because look at all these memes that they put out. They even did...
Look, they acknowledge your community. They totally are going to get it, guys.
Mm-hmm. So, like, that being said, like, obviously people... are brown-nosing EA with 2042 because, well, it's a Battlefield. Everyone wanted a Battlefield for a while. Everyone got tired of playing for some time just BRs, Call of Duty and whatnot. And obviously we got Halo Infinite coming out soon, and and obviously,
Well, the multiplayer is out, and I've been enjoying it. But yeah, it's I hope that look. I'll save my discussion on what I thought about Halo Infinite when Kenny comes back, and I want to wait for Marcos to play the game before we start talking about our thoughts on it, because I don't think it'll be really interesting if I just say my thing. I'll just say from the core, I enjoy Halo Infinite a lot. As someone who doesn't particularly like the Halo format, I really enjoy Halo Infinite. But fuck, man, the content better start coming out. And no, I'm not taking the whole, well, it's a beta, Daniel, as an argument, because if I could put money into it, you people, and then my question would be like, then where the fuck is all the development went into? Because that campaign better be really fucking long, or all that extra content better be coming out really fucking soon. Because, man, all I'm saying is that game really fucking feels like a free-to-play game now. Just saying.
have you what do you mean by putting money into Halo Infinite? This is the first I hear of it.
Okay, mainly the complaint that everyone is talking about is the battle pass progression. It is the slowest, most unfulfilling progress I've ever seen in my life. It doesn't really reward you like how do I describe it? Like, imagine you did something that's worth 100 points, but they give you 10 points out of it instead. So you have to so people would have to purposely play bad to complete certain challenges just to get that fucking progress bar, just to move a little bit more. And it's like really bad. Like, I'm still stuck at tier 1, and I've been playing like over 20 games now.
Yikes.
That's not right. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, that's a problem when you get to the later tiers. This is like going from tier 1 to 3. And yeah, and also with the lack of customization too. Like, that shit was, they dropped the ball really fucking hard on that. Like, that was pretty bad. And yeah, that's just my main concern with the game. It just feels like a really very low budget free to play game right now. But from the core essence of it, it's fucking fun. Like, it is a really fun game. But I'm telling you, they need 343 really needs to tighten their laces on this one, start making content for this game, and fix the playlist issues in custom games. That's all I'm gonna say. Not gonna go any further into it because I want to wait for Marcos and Kenny to play the game, and then we'll discuss.
Kenny's been
it.
playing the hell out of it, but obviously Kenny's not here to talk about it. Obviously, I don't want to say.
But are you gonna play?
Yeah,
it?
I want to play it. It's just obviously the thing is Kenny's 3080 Ti. We talked about this before recording the show. His game really not Halo Infinite. I'm sorry, Master Chief Collection. The Master Chief Collection fried his 3080 Ti, and it almost did it again once he got his his thing back, his GPU back. So I've been a little bit hesitant on getting the Halo Infinite beta, but since Kenny's been playing it on PC, and he hasn't run it, I don't think, on a 3080 Ti, but
he's probably been playing it on his Xbox.
That too, on both actually, on PC and Xbox. But I will say that I might get into it. I will download it. I can download it. It's not my issue. It's not an issue at all whatsoever. It's just I just feel like that I need to like check everything to make sure it's safe, because obviously the 3080 Ti does have its issues, and I don't want to waste a perfectly good expensive GPU just because I wanted to play a beta of some game. But that being said, I will say though that Kenny did mention about the level up progressions prior to the beta even coming out, saying like, hey, the level up is going to be based off challenges, not so much of EXP you gain from a match. And Kenny being and I don't want to talk crap about him when he's not here to defend himself. Him being a fanboy of the series, like, apparently Halo can't do any wrong for the most part. In his eyes, he liked the system of doing challenges. Heck, one day we even recorded a little bit later than usual because Kenny was playing Halo Infinite and didn't want to quit the game because he was already in a game and was already in. I don't know what kind of challenge he was doing, but we recorded a little bit later because he was in the game. So he's obviously enjoying the hell out of the game, out of beta. Even though, like, I even tell him, like, and this is where you and I agree with this, Daniel. Like, I don't like playing most game modes. I just like playing Slayer nonstop because Slayer is just that. Maybe even free for all, but Slayer is just an amazing game. Mode simple. There's no other nonsense, and
Deathmatch.
Technically, Slayer does have one objective, an explosive. And do damage like a rocket launcher or a tank, because they do so much damage and they're so meta as hell in Slayer. But other than that, like, if the map doesn't have rocket launchers or a tank, like, it's so fun. It's quite fun. Or I'll play Infected.
Like, yeah, big team battle is really fucking fun in Halo Infinite. Like, it is great when you're playing with all those people. But here's where my argument about the whole challenges thing. My thing is with challenges is that it's not a natural challenge. It's like you have to do something super arbitrary, and you have to kind of hold the game. And it's like you have to hold. Imagine like you're playing basketball, and the only way you could get higher up in the league is if you only do a certain amount of slam dunks. So the entire game, you have the ball. Everyone's telling you, shoot the ball, man. Shoot the ball. We'll win. We'll win. You're like, no, man, I got to get that dunk. Clear out the way, man. And it's like you're holding the team back because of it.
Right.
That's where I have a problem with the challenges idea. If you're talking about like achievements and shit, okay, fine, whatever. But it shouldn't be like, okay, guys, this week you better get 5 spike kills or something like that. And it's like, okay, now people are going to do nothing but try to get fucking spike kills. So they're not going to do anything.
That's true. That is a big issue I've seen with a lot of big-time games and big-time just like, hey, there's an objective and everyone's going to push for that objective. Like, look at Warzone. Whenever they released a new weapon Easter egg that you can get, everyone was doing the Easter egg in order to unlock a certain bunker that is inaccessible unless you do the Easter egg. And everyone usually camps that bunker. So when the one team is going to go open the door, they either grief by not letting them put in the code, or they just kill anyone who's going to that bunker to get that one weapon. In older seasons of Warzone. So,
and I think it's even worse when you're playing with a team game. That's where it makes it fucking worse, because now you got sandbags on your team.
That's true. And I will say though, again, I don't want to talk crap because he's not here to defend himself, but like Kenny complains nonstop like that some people aren't playing objectives and people are just going for kills, and he just wants to win the game. But like, that's the one thing I don't like. The playlists.
They're probably doing challenges.
Yeah, they're doing challenges to level up. And I will say though, like, all I want to do is just play Slayer because it's a fun game mode for me. But it's still like I don't want to play Oddball, like unless it's a close quarter type of map and there's no shotguns, because Oddball you can melee and still get away with it. But if you're playing Oddball and you're just carrying the Oddball around just to get points, and you get sniped from a distance, well, there's nothing you can do against a sniper except just run away and get into cover. But yeah, Halo Infinite seems like it is an interesting game. Sure, it's in beta, so we don't know the full specs of what's going out. The game is already going gold, so physically speaking, the game is ready to be shipped out. I'm not sure what other details they're going to put into just by seeing this beta, if you want to put it in quotations, beta, right? So I don't know if it's a true beta or not, but what they're going to expect for this beta, because even though it's the full multiplayer, it's still a beta. I'm not sure. Maybe they're just limiting
that's where you get to that problem again. It's like, what is it? 343? Is it a beta? Is it content going to come out? Is this are we supposed to judge it for what we have, or is it, well, no, we waited till that? You see where I'm getting at? Right. This is where it's like, you can't have your foot on both sides on this one.
Definitely the campaign. People got review
Don't get me wrong. Like, I get it. You can make the argument like, well, why does Fortnite have early access? I don't fucking know. That's up to them.
I will say though that the campaign, people got review copies for it, and they're like really thrown back. They're like, wow, this campaign is wow. Like, everyone's like, I'm so glad that they got a year. It was delayed a year, because the things you can do in this campaign seems like it's mimicking basically showing the Chief from the novels, because the Chief in the prior games, he was all right, but in the novels he was legit. Like, he tossed a coin up in the air and then he shot the coin, which ended up this is just me hyperbolic, right? But that shot,
okay, I was about to say that's so fucking generic.
Right, he shot that coin went and flew and killed like 20 elites, right? I'm just talking about like cool stuff like that. Like, that Chief is a badass in the novels. So in this in this new campaign, using the grappling hook, like, everything is broken about Chief. Like, obviously, if you play it on the harder difficulties, you have to play a little bit more defensively, but like, we're getting a more canon-like Chief the way he plays. A lot of people were complaining more like, hey, Chief is like acting a bit more witty with his response, but other than that, like, people have been enjoying it thus far.
Does he say I'm going Blankie mode or something like that?
I wish.
You know what's funny, Marcos? You know, you're talking about like the novels and stuff like that. Have you ever read any of the Hitman novels?
Novels?
From the game? No. Okay, dude. You know what's a fun little detail about Hitman that I never knew I needed to know until I read those books? Well, not to lie, I read an excerpt of it.
What?
Dude really likes fucking Denny's.
Oh.
I'm not making this up. This dude, almost like, I don't know what was up with this fucking author, but he really wanted to tell everybody what Agent 47 ate that morning every fucking chapter. So it would just be like, he went to the Denny's to get the Grand Slam pancakes with a nice hot cup of coffee, mixing it with 3 packs of sugar, and like going into fucking detail about this. Like, well, at least Agent 47 had a really good breakfast.
I mean, we do know that Agent 47 was, I think to my memory, he was a mix of 4 people, and he was thrown into a test tube, and then he was born to be this.
So he's feeding for 4 people? He's like Venom?
Well, maybe one of them genetically
really like pancakes.
Perhaps because, genetically speaking, addiction, your how addiction affects you, it depends on like how your genetic components and what's done from like your father. So if your father was an addict, it's more than likely you could be an addict. So what if this guy just really, really liked high carb, high calorie meals in the form of a pancake, a flapjack with some syrup and some coffee? Who knows?
Man, we could talk about like video game novelizations, because those things are fucking god. Every time I think about video game books, I always reminded like how many kids used to come in and be like, Danny, have you read the Halo novels? Man, this shit is the best fucking thing I read since Catcher in the Rye, motherfucker. This is the best thing ever. And I'd just be like, cool, I'm still not curious or even care. I don't care if the suit jacks off Master Chief in one of the chapters. I don't fucking care. I just don't. But I just like that some of them are basically just literally Let's Plays, but in text form.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's a good way to put it. We'll say that like these people thinking that it's the best things they've ever read really shows that they don't read a lot of books.
No, of course not. But it's for gamers, dude.
Yeah, you're right.
And don't even get me started on like the books, those video game books that they read during the NES days when they made a fucking book about the original Metal Gear, Mega Man, and Mortal Kombat and shit. Oh my god, it's fucking stupid and hilarious.
Oh, wow.
I recommend you guys check out the Super Bunny Hop video about video game novelizations. They're really good. And also, but to be fair though, he also did a great video talking about he did one about comparing Bloodborne's and H.P. Lovecraft, and he also did another one where he talked about all like the Witcher books and like how the books are affected in the game, which is really interesting because like you'll find out like a faction in The Witcher 2, they'll act like, oh, we know you, dude, we're your best buddies and shit like that, but then when you read their novels, they fucked over Geralt like so many goddamn times.
The only thing I do like about, I guess I'll end with this, with The Witcher 2, was that The Witcher 2, there was a side quest where, hey, I'm running an experiment to see if I can make people affected by magic fertile again. So basically wizards, witches, and witchers, right? So he was running this experiment, and Geralt, being a witcher in The Witcher 2, he was what do you call it? Was tested, and we didn't really see much of it except you got EXP and gold for complete the quest. Well, in The Witcher 3, I think during a DLC in Witcher 3, you see a note from the guy saying, "Hey, our experiment proves to be almost successful, and we're gonna continue testing this, and we'll make a lot of money because now witches and witchers and anyone who does magic or involved in magic can now have babies." So it's a nice little thing.
Oh, is that like a pack thing, or it's like if you want to start using magic, you got to be infertile?
Well, in lore,
or is like the magic?
Yeah, in lore, if you go into the arcane arts, you can do one or two things. One thing is for sure, you tend to not age normally like a regular human being, and 2, you become infertile. That's really it.
So it's literally like Metal Gear Solid.
Yes. And in the Witcher's cases, they basically poison themselves, and the people who can withstand it, they age slower as well, but they're not so... They're more warriors, if anything. They use some spells, but they're basic non-cast spells. That just... Non-chanting spells, I'm sorry, but they just throw it out. But because of their experimentations and all the mutagens, they end up being infertile. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I think we're just going to go ahead and wrap it up with infertility. Very interesting. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up there, folks. Thank you so much for watching or listening to the DKM Podcast. If you haven't yet, feel free to subscribe, join our Discord server. We'd love to have you on our little community. Follow us on Twitter at DKM Podcast. We're still working on getting the show available on iTunes, but you can still listen to us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, or any streaming services that allows you to listen to podcasts. And I think that's going to be it for this one, folks. You guys have a good one. Stay safe and take care. See you next time.